Hey everybody, we are so excited to be back with you with another chart episode. I know it's been a while, but this is a long time coming. We're excited about this one. I know you guys are too. This is Vinny.
And this is Joe.
As always, welcome back to V&J Reviews. Right after this, get ready. Universe 6 Power Chart. Here it comes. Okay, so the first thing we want to start off with is just kind of refreshing the memory about the chart itself, where the basic guys stand, you know, Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, and Whis. And then we're going to start plugging in the Universe 6 fighters that we see in this saga, where there's really just this tournament that's set up, and we get to see some of the fighters from each of the universes kind of spar off against each other, especially the first time you view this. A very exciting saga because we get to see new fighters involved, and how is Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, these guys, how are they going to stack up against these new fighters? And so, you know, very exciting saga. And so we're going to plug these guys in. We're going to let you know where they fall on this chart. And of course, here you can see that we have Vegeta, Goku in their base form, Super Saiyan, and their blue form already. And then the rest of the guys are going to get plugged in there. So on our chart, we just want to remind you where everyone stands and kind of how that thing works.
So as you see, Vegeta and Goku, we're putting them both at a 6.2. Now this is a little bit higher from their previous 6.1 and 6.15 that we had in their previous chart. They have been training together in the hyperbolic time chamber. So mostly in there, I feel like they're more learning about their God Ki, how to control it, how to sustain it. Not so much where they gain a lot of power. They normally gain their power mostly from fighting, from the big battles, like we're going to see in the tournament power later on. I mean, those are big like gains. Here, this is more about like training. I mean, we see it throughout the sagas, like let's say when Trunks came and then the Android saga, there wasn't really much gains there. They trained that whole time, but there wasn't much there. And we see that throughout multiple times, that these times it's not really the big gains. It's like when they're fighting Frieza or they're doing something big. So 6.2 for both of them. Then we go to their Super Saiyan forms, where it's a 6.28 on the chart. Now, we're giving them a little bit more of a boost. Obviously, their base is getting a little bit stronger, so we're making sure that we coordinate that with the Super Saiyan forms.
Now, it's important here to understand that they do get a 50 times multiplier when they go into their Super Saiyan form. However, the 50 times multiplier is done to their normal mortal ki, not the God Ki that's burning within them. In our pictures there, can you see how we have like this red glow behind Goku and Vegeta? That red glow is indicating that there is a God Ki energy that is burning within them. When they go Super Saiyan, they don't get a 50 times multiplier to that God energy burning within them. They get a 50 times multiplier to their normal ki. And so that's where you see the increase there. When they figure out how to combine Super Saiyan and the God Ki together, when Goku first figured that out and we saw that revealed on the Frieza saga, that's when he went blue. And the reason we see that change to blue is because now they're getting the multiplier to the God Ki. So, of course, there's some debate over which way to go with it. We've decided to go that way. We think it makes the most sense within the anime. Of course, the manga is going to be different, but within the anime, this way makes the most sense. If you need any more information on it, we have a lot of chart videos out there where we go into all that stuff. So the 50 times multiplier is happening with the Super Saiyan form. It's to their mortal ki only. And then, of course, they go into the blue form there, and you can see the multiplier now to their God Ki energy is going to give them a huge boost. They're going to be an 8.18, 548 on our converted scale here. And you can see how Beerus and Whis stack up against these guys. Now, of course, when we're looking at Beerus, we know according to Toriyama's original numbers, and we do, you know, we have taken those to some degree and applied them to the chart, that he was originally called a 10, you know, before the anime was even created. But we put him at a 10 there, but we also believe that Beerus is insanely stronger than that. We do believe that there's indications that he has Ultra Instinct. How far he's gone with that, how much he's mastered it, we do not know yet. Perhaps on a future episodes or sagas, we will figure that out. But he is insanely powerful, so you can see where they each stand right now. And at this point, we're just going to we're going to plug in these guys, these Universe 6 tournament, this sort of pre-tournament that's going on here, and we're going to plug them in and show you where they all fit.
So first up is going to be Botamo.
He's round and he's fuzzy, I love him because he's just Pooh Bear, Winnie the Pooh Bear.
So Botamo in this fight isn't really that impressive. I mean, he has some pretty cool techniques with him where he can absorb any attack that Goku does. I mean, obviously his punches are nullified, but I mean, he's very simple to dodge. I mean, Goku doesn't really have any issues dodging his attacks. His attacks don't seem very strong. His punches don't seem to be like anything for Goku at all. And he doesn't even go Super Saiyan. I mean, basically, he's just messing with Botamo this whole time. He just flips him on the ground, picks him up, and throws him over the stage, and that's the end of it. I mean, if Botamo, if you had to face him without there being a ring out, I guess he could be pretty tough, because how the heck do you actually defeat this guy? I think if you throw like a rock at him, I think that actually can hurt him, so that would probably be the way to do it. But in this, weren't really impressed, so we gave him a 1.5 on the chart. I mean, he's somewhat strong, but nothing really at all to us.
Okay, and yeah, that 1.5 there, that's going to be insanely weak in comparison to what you see there with base Goku and Vegeta, with the God Ki burning with him and then their Super Saiyan forms. It's even hard to describe how weak he is in comparison, but he's nearly nothing to them. And that's going to move us on to the next fighter that we're going to talk about, which is actually going to be Piccolo.
Yes, I can win. I feel great. I can do this. Ugh.
So Piccolo is going to be a little interesting here, because now he's going to take on Frost, and immediately the question is he stronger than Frost? Now, we know that Frost and Frieza have a lot of similarities as far as race-wise and all that stuff. You know, obviously Frost being from Universe 6, anything could be different. And the question is Piccolo going to be able to handle him? And even Piccolo himself is going to question this. He's going to go over to Goku and say, Goku, you think I even stand a chance? And kind of from Goku's response, the indication is probably not. Not really. He's stronger than you are. And that's kind of what I get from it. Now, we're going to see the fight itself. And the one thing I would say about Piccolo against Frost is this. Piccolo, even though we're going to say Piccolo is weaker than Frost, and we believe he is, he does have better technique than Frost, and that means a lot. Piccolo is a master martial artist. He really is, and he's going to get the upper hand to some degree here on Frost by using that better technique. He's gonna not win based off of pure strength, where he certainly is outclassed strength-wise against Frost, and he's going to use his technique to wrap his arms around Frost, and this is going to put him in a good position to use his special beam cannon on Frost. Of course, at this point, we know that Frost cheats, which would say, well, Frost must be weaker than Piccolo. It's just not the case. Frost is definitely stronger than Piccolo is. He just lacks the fighting ability that Piccolo has. And so, you know, Frost will be stronger. He won't be insanely stronger than Piccolo, but he'd definitely be stronger than him. And so that's why on our chart we put Piccolo here at a 2.5 or a 15.6. And again, to highlight, this is much, much weaker than where Goku and Vegeta are standing. I mean, it's in a completely different tier of fighting ability. Definitely, he will be able to take on some people that are going to be in the tournament power later on, but he's not even going to be close to the upper tier group of people that are going to be in that tournament of power. So this is why we put Piccolo here on the chart.
So next on our chart is going to be Frost.
No matter what happens, never give up. Get back on your feet. That's right. The same encouragement I give my liberated orphans is the encouragement I'll use now.
Now, we place Frost obviously higher than Piccolo because, like Vin just said, we do feel like he's stronger. But we're not going to place him as high as, let's say, Frieza, because we just don't feel like he's near that strength. And especially we get to cheat a little bit because we have seen the Tournament of Power, and we don't feel like Frost and Frieza were close to the same level. We obviously know that Frieza outclassed Frost in every way. So that's one reason a little bit we place him lower. Another one is just the fight between Goku and him. Goku was pretty much taking him at base form, and then also when he went Super Saiyan, he just mopped the floor with him. And also Vegeta, when he was in Super Saiyan, one punch took him out like it was nothing. I mean, really, Frost doesn't stand a chance against these guys, and we can just see that from the battle. It wasn't really that tough of a battle. I mean, Goku was egging him on, do stronger, be stronger, I can take more, you're not doing all you can do, and we see that. So we felt like he was safe at a 4.5 because that's significantly enough stronger than Piccolo, where we feel like he should be able to beat Piccolo pretty easily, and Goku can sense that he could beat him pretty easily, but he's just not that tier level as Goku is, because they're able just to take him out like it's nothing.
All right, so that's going to bring us to Magetta. Now, Magetta is going to be episodes 35 and 36 against Vegeta in Dragon Ball Super. Now, this is an interesting one, and you can see now we're starting to place him a little bit higher, and some people may question that, but really, if you go back and watch episode, I don't know if, I think Frost was episode 35 too, 35, and then Magetta was 35, 36. If you go back and watch those episodes, you will clearly see a distinct difference between the abilities of Frost and Magetta. Magetta is far more powerful than Frost is, and in fact, you can see how Vegeta handles Frost and then how Vegeta handles Magetta. It's a much more difficult battle. Now, if you remember back to those episodes, there was the rules that were placed against Vegeta where he had to kind of be contained within like this barrier, and he was only allowed to like fly to certain distances, and Magetta is using that to its advantage, of course, and he's heating up the arena and stuff, and Vegeta's going to break through it and eliminate that. Now, even with all that said and done, Vegeta with this god power behind him still probably should be able to handle Magetta in that situation, but he's finding it difficult, which says something about the power of Magetta, about how powerful, how strong he is. Now, even when Vegeta breaks out of that barrier and he says, like, I think he says, like, fine, now I can defeat you because I can actually breathe, which shows he couldn't fight at full strength while he was in that barrier, which is important to understand that Magetta is not stronger than base form Vegeta. He's simply not. Vegeta just couldn't, it was like sort of a cheat going on here. But when he breaks out of, he can finally breathe and fight, you can still see that Magetta is still putting up a pretty good challenge against Vegeta. And of course, Vegeta does go Super Saiyan in this match against Magetta, which does say something that he even though we do believe he could beat him in the base form, he found it, I'm going to go Super Saiyan here just to handle this guy. And you can see, even in the Super Saiyan form, Magetta puts up a little bit of a fight here against Vegeta, showing us that this guy is definitely in a higher strength category. And we do also get to see that Vegeta is going to use his final flash attack. It's been a long time coming since we've seen that, and here he's going to use it against Magetta, and Magetta is going to kind of use his own attack to kind of block it, and it does nothing. I mean, the final flash easily gets through that attack, but Magetta holds on for a while against Vegeta's final flash as a Super Saiyan with the god power behind him. Magetta still holds on. If you watch that episode, you'll see him holding out against Vegeta here. So there is no way that Magetta is really too low on the chart here. He's definitely got some strength and some power behind him. He's not approaching the base Goku Vegeta level, but he's getting up there. And so because of those reasons, that's why we put him here on the chart at a 5.0 or in the converted scale about a 125.
Now, if you guys feel like he's a little bit weaker or a little bit stronger, I can definitely see arguments for either way on that. But, I mean, I do like our position here on the 5 for Magetta here. I mean, to us, it makes the most sense. But if you put a little bit higher, I would say you can do that. It doesn't make much of a difference, but you do have arguments for or against it. So now this leads up to Cabba. Now, Cabba, I have to admit, was the hardest one for us because Universe 6 Saiyans are just crazy hard to figure out because we have to sort of compare them somehow to Goku and Vegeta and how strong are they comparatively, but they make them like really strong to us for being in a base form or whatnot. So it's like if you take Goku and you say, is he stronger than Goku when we first see him in Battle of Gods? In a way, we have to say yes, because he is facing Vegeta in this and somehow being okay at fighting him. So he has to be somewhat strong. But we just can't like say that he's up to God level because the big thing that people always go to is Vegeta says, well, it looks like we're equal in base form. It's like, I don't know about that. If you really watch that fight, I don't think they were equal in base form. You can even see, like, Vegeta talking to him, messing with him, and really what me and Vin feel like he's trying to say here is, well, what's done base form? Let's go Super Saiyan. Let's pump this up a little bit. That's where we feel like Vegeta is going with this. So when we put Cabba on this chart, we're going to put his base at a 2.0. Now, I know some people are going to say, how is he even fighting Vegeta? Vegeta's not messing with him. He just wants to test out his strength, test out his abilities. He's just obviously more toying with him.
You know, the interesting thing here with Cabba is he is an enigma, and so are all the Saiyans of Universe 6 in reality. And it's funny because many people will fall into different camps on this. Some people will say Cabba is far weaker than that. He just is. He's far weaker. And then some people will say, no, he's far stronger than that because Vegeta said we're equal in our base forms. So, or then, you know, some people just don't care. So the thing is you have to look at the whole thing for what it is. The fact of the matter is the Saiyans of Universe 6 are naturally, they're stronger. They just are than the Saiyans of Universe 7. They developed differently over time, and however that development took place, it ended up in stronger Saiyans. And so we need to accept it. We just have to accept the fact that this is the way they wrote it in. Now, once we accept that, as Joe was saying about Vegeta saying we're equal in our base forms, that is ridiculous. You either have to take Vegeta's word, and this guy is as strong as a god form, you know, base form Vegeta with the god power behind him, which is ridiculous. Vegeta didn't even try. He just wanted him to move on to Super Saiyan. So that's not the case. So that's why when we see the fight here, we know that Cabba's not that strong, but he's also not that weak either because he is actually sparring a little bit. Now, if Cabba was too much weaker than this, he wouldn't even be able to, you know, see Vegeta, you know, moving in the base form. So it's important to understand that.
And also, this is a big reason why people think like the God chart is pretty much done, is mostly because of like Cabba and Kale and Khalifa. They sort of make this chart like hard to really do because they're just unbelievable. Like they don't fit with this whole thing, and I agree that they do make it tough with Cabba and them. We do place Cabba at 2, also thinking like he's not as strong as Frost at this point because we feel like Frost would have outbeat him. I mean, even Cabba looks up to Frost a little bit because he thinks he's a good guy at the time, and he thinks that he's really strong. But we feel like Piccolo could maybe even beat Cabba in his base form. That was like sort of the fight that we were thinking who would win, Piccolo or Cabba in base, and we think we would give it to Piccolo a little bit on this as well.
All right, so that brings us now. The fact is at a certain point in this match against Vegeta, Cabba says, you know, basically he's like, Master Vegeta, you know, please train me, help me to become a Super Saiyan. I can't become a Super Saiyan. And then Vegeta goes into basically insult mode and starts to insult Cabba, his family, and his planet, and how he's going to destroy everyone who Cabba knows and loves and his planet. And this obviously helps Cabba to transform into a Super Saiyan. So the question becomes, how strong is he? The reality is when it comes to the anime, we don't know the multipliers for Universe 6 Saiyans. It could be less, it could be more. We don't really know. We can look at the context of the fight and everything, but so to keep it safe right now until any future saga changes it up for us, we're going to just use the same multiplier that's already been established for Saiyans because we really can't do anything else at this point. We know it could mess up the chart later on with certain things, but maybe future sagas will change that up. So because of that, we just give him the 50 times multiplier to his Mortal Key energy, and that would put him right here on the chart. You can see at a 4.76 or a 108. So he's, you know, obviously far more powerful than he was before, and he's going to be fighting. And if you go back and watch the fight between them, you'll see, man, he is taking it to Vegeta. Now, it's kind of, this is, and Joe and I take another step away from maybe some people here to a sense, because we actually think that in some ways he went, especially me, I think I brought this up to Joe as we were going through some of the episodes again. I think Cabba went a little bit beyond Super Saiyan here. I think he went into a little bit of a rage, a Super Saiyan rage form. And as Vegeta was kind of like defending against it, he was basically, it's like as if a person comes at you wailing with their arms, putting everything they could into it. And Vegeta's just like covering his head, just trying to stop the attacks. And eventually Vegeta starts like laughing because he realizes like, okay, you know, I'm going to end this thing here. But this, we think that Cabba actually went into a little bit of a rage, which made him a little bit more powerful probably in that moment than just a regular Super Saiyan 50 times multiplier. So we're going to give something a little bit interesting here on the chart.
So in rage mode, we're going to put Cabba at a 5.4, giving him that little extra boost. I mean, if you think back, Vegeta did the same thing against Beerus when he was in Super Saiyan 2, where he pushed himself beyond Goku in Super Saiyan 3, but just for a little bit, and that's what we actually see here. It's not for very long. I mean, Cabba is just super angry at what Vegeta said, but then he sort of calms down and pretty much loses at that point. I mean, Vegeta actually takes a full-on punch in the forehead to him because he obviously knows that he can just easily deflect it.
So Vegeta does take the hit in his Super Saiyan form, but then eventually he does actually transform as well.
Correct. He goes into his blue form for the first time and pretty much is showing Cabba, you can maybe become this one day. That'll be interesting if we ever do see that.
And actually, interestingly enough, he says you can one day do this. And I'm thinking like, what? You can one day do this? I mean, he was just base form Saiyan, you know, and he's going to, you know, one day do this. So that might be a foreshadowing of possible things to come from Universe 6 Saiyans, which who knows what that's going to be.
And then we obviously see Vegeta just one punch Cabba here and pretty much takes him out, and that's the end of that fight. And now we're going to be going to the final fight, which is Hit.
And it doesn't matter how tough you are either. If I keep striking your critical points, you will eventually die. I recommend you surrender.
Now, Hit is a fun one because there was a big build up to Hit, especially the first time going around watching this. Of course, Goku has all of his attention on Hit, and I think it's brought up a couple times. Like, Goku, why are you like focusing your attention? I think Piccolo brought that up, where he's like, I wonder why Goku's looking over at that guy. So there's sort of like this anticipation up to this guy, and we know obviously that he's like an assassin from Universe 6, and he brings down his opponents every single time. And I think it's even established too that he's never failed to bring down an opponent. And basically, this guy is like undefeated. You know, he's like 1,000 years old or something, and he's just as strong as could possibly be. So we don't know how strong he is, but we know that this guy is definitely going to be different.
So Vegeta is fighting Hit, and Vegeta is actually in his blue form while actually fighting him, and Vegeta has a very, very tough time against Hit. He can't actually figure out what Hit is doing to like get past his defenses. Literally, Hit with his time skip, obviously we know about it but at the time nobody else did. It is just baffling him, and Vegeta just can't stand up against it. He tries to figure it out, but Vegeta's actually taken out pretty easily by Hit in his blue form. And pretty much Vegeta is out, and it's all up to Goku. Now, Goku goes into this with a little bit of an advantage because he gets told by the Galactic King of Universe 7 and also Jocko about this time skip ability, giving him like that little bit of an edge of, okay, what do I need to do in order to beat Hit? And also he gets to obviously watch the fight between Hit and Vegeta, giving him that little bit of advantage before going in and having to fight him himself.
Now, this might make some people think that Hit is stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. However, it's just not the case. Hit's strength alone is not the thing that helps him defeat Vegeta here. It's Hit's ability that does. Now, that doesn't mean that Hit is weak by any means. Hit is very powerful, very strong individual. He has to be in order to defeat them, even using his time skip. If he was weak, it wouldn't matter. He wouldn't be able to hurt Vegeta if he wasn't powerful. So he is extremely powerful, but you have to understand it's not whether you win or don't win that determines where you fall on this. If necessarily somebody defeats someone else, it doesn't mean that they're higher than them in strength-wise. There's other things that come into play here, and the time skip ability is one of those things that just gives you, I mean, it's hard to quantify how much additional, ability and strength that gives you that can move you beyond somebody who's stronger than you. And in this case, we feel like it does that for Hit. It moves Hit beyond Vegeta, not necessarily in power, but his ability is so great that he can defeat Vegeta here. And of course, this is the moment in which Goku is going to take Hit on, and where we're really going to find out in a better way where Hit stands against the power of Godform Blue when Goku, basically starts to figure out what's going on here.
Now, Goku does fight Hit for a while here in his base form, and is actually doing pretty well. He's figuring out his technique, figuring out how to block against it, predict his movements, and then when he finally goes into his blue form, he pretty much has hit on the ropes a little bit here because he knows his ability. He's much stronger, much quicker. And if this was a one-on-one fight between the two of them and there was no time skip, I'm pretty sure I would give this battle to Blue. Blue would take out Hit at that moment. But obviously we figure out Hit does have a few more tricks up his sleeve. Not getting stronger, but able to increase his technique and his abilities through like how to fight better, how to resist Goku's punches a little bit better, how to increase his time skip ability. And basically, he becomes beyond Blue at that point because his abilities become stronger, not himself. And that's actually stated multiple times. He's not becoming stronger. It's his abilities becoming better.
Yeah, I remember that moment where I think it was the angel of one of the universes was like, I don't know why he screamed. Was that Angel of Universe?
Yeah, it was
Angel of Universe 6, yeah. And so it was like, I don't know why he screamed. What did he even do? And I think Hit admitted himself, like, I don't have the ability like you saying to get stronger. But what he did is he increases his time skip ability, and he's never had to do that before, apparently. Like, that's never come up. Like, he's been able to destroy and defeat anybody by using just his, I think it's like a 0.1 second time skip or something like that. And he's able to defeat all of his opponents that way. But here now with Goku, he's not able to. Goku figures it out, and obviously Goku's very powerful as well. He's going to be able to defeat him. So now once Hit powers up, this is now going to increase his time skip. Yeah, so I think he increases it here to 0.2 first, and then eventually, fairly quickly after that, he's going to go to a 0.5, which is an amazing amount of time skip. I mean, especially if you're fighting somebody. Imagine if you had a half a second to time skip. It's unbelievable. So Goku's obviously going to have to counter this.
So after that, Hit now is actually having the advantage against Goku, and Goku can't really stand up against him at this point. And Goku takes out his trump card here, which is him going Kaioken times 10 in his blue form. Now, Goku even states, like, he's not really has perfected this technique. He's not even sure if it's going to work, and he was really going to use it against Beerus, and Beerus wasn't too happy about that one. But, so he does go into his Kaioken times 10, and it does succeed and work. So we're going to obviously add that to the chart to show where Goku is when he goes Kaioken times 10, which is an 8.57. So when he's in his Kaioken times 10, he actually moves beyond what Hit can do at this point. He even says it like, I am beyond your time skip at this point, and he's really wailing on Hit, and Hit is somehow taking it. I don't even know how. This really does show that Hit is actually pretty strong, and he's actually even able to take on his Kamehameha while actually in his Kaioken times 10. So just to show that Hit is definitely up there. I mean, he is very strong, and this sort of shows it off.
And just a little bit on the calculation factor in the chart. So you can see where Kaioken times 10 blue form falls there. And now some people may be looking at that thinking, wait, why does it fall like that? Isn't it supposed to be 10 times stronger? And it is 10 times stronger. And you have to understand, and we've said this many times, this scale is a cubed scale. It's a converted scale. So when we do the multiplication, we do the multiplication on a different chart, and then we apply the multipliers onto this converted chart. And so that location is actually 10 times stronger than his blue form. So I know it might not look like it's 10 times stronger, but it is because of the way that this converted scale works. So this scale is really good at showing you where people are in relation to each other, but it might be a little bit weaker in showing you the scale of that relation. So we can't, it's like, having two different types of maps. Like you got the Mercator projection map of the world versus like a globe. Like they each have their positives and negatives to it. This chart has its its greatest positive is that you can see the relation of fighters against each other in a very good way, and the conversion works out very well, especially with the multipliers in the context of fighting. So in this case, you could see where Kaioken times 10 falls, and that's also good to see where it falls against Beerus. So a lot of people feel like when Goku goes Kaioken times 10 in his blue form, that he's going to be able, like he maybe could possibly beat Beerus. For us in our chart, that is just not the case. He cannot take on Beerus. At least we don't see that. Not in our conversions, not in our multipliers, and not in the context of fighting. We just don't see it at this point. And in fact, we don't even think that he reaches Beerus's 10 level that was originally mentioned before the anime came out. Never mind, Beerus using Ultra Instinct and what that would produce in him. So it's kind of nice to see where he falls there. So these are all of the Universe 6 fighters that are prominent during this saga, and the Universe 7 fighters that are prominent during this saga, including Beerus and Whis, and just lining them up, seeing where they're all falling. Oh, wait. Actually, I think there was another fighter who was in there. A very powerful fighter, actually. I mean, we see this towards the end here. Goku runs sort of out of time here with his ability against Hit, and so we need another Universe 7 fighter to come in and challenge the great assassin that is Hit and his time skip ability, and we get that. And we truly get that in one of the highest and the greatest of the elite, and that is Monaka, who's going to come in here and just face off. He's just going to stand straight up. I mean, it's amazing to see what happens here with this.
So just to really describe how great Monaka's ability is he takes out Hit in one punch. I mean, he is able to not even power up. He just goes in there calm and cool, and he just is able to go quick enough. He's very quick because Hit didn't have enough time to actually use the time skip or even his own speed. I mean, Hit is a very quick guy to be able to dodge Monaka's punch. And we get to cheat a little bit again because we can compare this with Jiren and Hit's fight. When Jiren's actually fighting Hit, and Hit is actually, I think, stronger at this point, he still doesn't actually punch him in one hit. It takes a while. They're fighting for a while. So I think Monaka's even higher than it comes to Jiren because Jiren wasn't able to beat him in one punch. He actually had to fight. Monaka, one punch, able to go past his speed and just take him out, and nobody saw it coming. I mean, not even Beerus saw this coming, like how strong Monaka is. So we're going to place him, I would say, at least a 13 or higher. We're going to obviously put an up arrow on Monaka here because he is just that strong. I mean, he is beyond Jiren. He has proved it here, and we have to give him props where props is due.
I even think as Monaka was entering the fight against Hit, he had that one moment. It was a tough moment. I think he fell down and he fell straight on his head, right? Yeah. And he survived that. And that says something about somebody. When you can fall right down on your head and survive that sort of an impact, it just shows that, even though maybe he wasn't, something stumbled him up a little bit, probably maybe somebody, Frost was cheating again or something, put something in his eye, glared him. He was able to get right back up and get into that fight, and that says something about his fighting character and his ability as well, I think. And
also, actually, another comparison with him and Jiren. If you remember Jiren, at one point, he was about to get hit, in the back with a boulder that was flying towards him, but he didn't even dodge it. He just knew that it was going to fly past him. Monaka actually did the same thing. At one point during the fight, where Vegeta destroyed the barrier, glass went everywhere. But Monaka didn't even move. He didn't move an inch because he knew that he didn't need to because he saw the stuff coming. And people couldn't believe that he didn't even flinch from it. But this is just showing how great of a fighter and technique Monaka has.
Well, there you go, folks. Take it for what it is, or not. However you feel about it. Whatever your thoughts are on that one. So seriously, though, guys, I hope you see this is actually we're going to put up the final chart here. Here's the real final chart for you guys. Clearly, Monaka is going to fall in a place that doesn't actually fit on this chart, I'm sure. So here it is, and we're excited, guys. We are back at it here. Yes, we've had some things going on. That's kind of kept us a little busy and away from here. But we're going to get back into we are Universe 6 power chart, and we're going to keep moving forward. So hopefully in the next couple weeks or so, we'll be able to pump out the next chart for you guys. And we're excited. A lot of good news. Movies coming out soon and all that good stuff. So maybe we'll do a little review on the movie or some of the information we have from that. I'm sure you guys are all keeping up with that with some of the other channels out there. All right. We hope you guys enjoyed this one. We would love to see your thoughts on this. And please, leave those comments below. We're excited to see it. We hope you guys are excited about us coming back here on and get these charts out here for you as well. As always, this is Vinny.
And this is Joe.
Until next time.